Hi there, my name is Waylonem Brinckiem. I'm the art director on Gears of War Judgment here at People Can Fly. We've got a bit of a history with Gears of War. We made the Windows version of Gears of War 1. We've helped out a lot with especially the DLC for Gears of War 2 and 3. But this is our first chance taking on a huge chunk of the story and the gameplay, the campaign and the multiplayer. So we've been able to build a lot of our own ideas into it. So kind of the whole time it's like, God, how do you live up to that, to Gears of War and that epic quality bar? Well, we had to set our sights higher. We had to say, look, we're going to beat Epic at our own game. So, no, People Can Fly and Epic worked on this really closely together. God, I mean, of course we each had our own pieces, but we were giving so much feedback back and forth. You know, even Damon Baird, our main character, well, we did the concept art over at Epic, but we made the 3D model here at People Can Fly. And then some of the other members of Kilo Squad were exactly the other way around. So it's, you know, even up until the end of the project, you know, I was giving feedback to some stuff over at Epic, and the producers were like, stop, Wayland, it's too late, we can't do this anymore. But the artists still found time to get it in. And, you know, it's by pushing each other like that, we've made a product that, like, yeah, I mean, the quality bar is so much higher than anything either studio has done on our own before. Gears of War Judgment takes place during Emergence Day. This is when the Locust came up from the ground and COG society fell. So you get to experience Emergence Day as it happens. The original trilogy was 14 years after E-Day, so the dust had already settled. It was all about the destroyed beauty. Well, now you get to see that beauty being destroyed. So cracks appear in the ground, buildings collapse around you, you see cars on fire falling into E-holes. You get to see the story of civilians who are trying to flee from the cities. Their cars are overloaded with luggage and crashed, and you see a bloody trail leading out the door. You get to see how the COG government handled the situation, and as we know from the later games, they didn't handle it too well. So this is your chance to get hands-on and see it for yourself. In Gears of War Judgment, you play as the members of Kilo Squad, where they are on trial for war crimes, and you get to play out the testimony of each of the members of Kilo Squad and get to see their part of the story. Well, one of the new characters we're introducing, actually my favorite character, is Garen Paduk. He is a member of the UIR, who is the old enemy of COGs from the Pendulum Wars, which the COG recently beat them less than a year ago. Now, E-Day has happened, so Garen Paduk has come over to the COG side to help fight against the Locust. Garen is, by a huge margin, the most senior person in Kilo Squad. He's got years of combat experience, he's great at tactics, he's great at strategy, but now that he's on the COG side, he's been demoted to a private, so he's answering to Damon Baird. So he's really cynical. He's got this attitude where he's like, why are you guys overcomplicating things? Why don't we just shoot them in the head and move on? And so, actually, the level where you play as Garen is the Seahorse Hills. This is like the rich Beverly Hills neighborhood of Halvo Bay. And so you get to see this former enemy of the COG in the richest neighborhood of the COG. And yeah, it's just a great insight into his personality and his relationship with his enemy. In Gears of War Judgment, you learn a whole lot more about the universe of Gears of War. Garen Paduk introduces us to the UIR, and in fact we've included two weapons, which are both UIR weapons. The Bushka grenade launcher, which is great because it allows you to bounce grenades off of walls, off the ceiling, and into the back of your enemy's head. And the Marksa sniper rifle, which Garen actually uses as the scout in Overrun and survival mode. It's a semi-automatic sniper rifle, which really rounds out the arsenal nicely. We've also introduced Sophia Hendrick, who is a cadet of the Onyx Guard. Now, the Onyx Guard are the elite forces of the COG army. She's a cadet, though. She has just graduated, so she's still kind of trying to prove herself. She doesn't really have any combat experience. She's very by the book because she doesn't want to mess anything up. And so, actually, she's kind of like the angel, and Garen is kind of like the devil on the shoulders of Baird, trying to influence his decisions into how he's going to lead Kilo Squad. One of our goals with Gears of War Judgment was to make the combat the most intense that you've ever seen in a Gears of War game before. But we also wanted to make it a little bit more replayable and custom tailored to the way the player wants to play. So we added something called the S3 system, or our smart spawn system. What this does is it changes up the gameplay every time you play an arena, whether that's because you died and had to respawn, or you just want to play through on a harder difficulty level, or you've already completed the campaign but you want to play again in co-op with a friend. So the way it works, the first time you play an arena, a boomer may come out of the door on the left. The second time you play again, a horde of wretches might come out. And the third time, actually that door might not open at all, and instead an e-hole opens on the other side of the arena and something else comes out altogether. So Gears of War Judgment is told through the trial of Kilo Squad, and you get to hear each member's testimony. Well, in this testimony, we've added a system called declassified missions. This is kind of a extra layer on top of the combat where there's maybe something that Kilo Squad didn't quite want to say or the court didn't want released because it's maybe something that didn't go quite by the book. For instance, Kilo Squad comes upon a COG convoy that they were supposed to investigate. And when they get there, all the COG are dead, slaughtered by the Locust, so Kilo Squad kills all the Locust and moves on. That's the normal version. Now, what really happened is when Kilo Squad got to that convoy, they had run out of ammunition. So they kind of went off the book. They picked up the Locust weapons and used the Locust weapons against them. So it's breaking the rules. It's not something they should have done. They might get in trouble for it, but that's what really happened. We've got all kinds of different versions of this, different weapon loadouts, different enemies that spawn, changing environment conditions that, for instance, may limit your visibility, and all kinds of other cool stuff that'll really give you a unique gameplay experience and tell you a bit more about who Kilo Squad is and how the COG government have run this war. When you're playing through the level, you may see a glowing crimson omen on the wall. That's the COG symbol with a skull inside of it. If you walk up to that, you'll get a brief description of what the declassified mission is. And if you click on it, that activates the mission. When I play the game, so I'm not the best player ever. If I play on hardcore difficulty, I try to take all the declassified missions just because it adds that extra variety and that extra story. But I don't always pass them. And if I try 2 or 3 times, that may be, okay, I'll play the level without declassified this time. I'll try to get back to it later once I'm a little bit more warmed up or once I've had more practice. Right when we started this project, we knew we wanted to give fans something a little bit extra. So we looked at kind of the whole Gears universe and said, is there some story here that we haven't told that we think would be really fun for fans to see? For instance, we discussed what happened to Cole. In Gears of War 1, he shows up, his entire squad is dead. We could have told that story, but we decided with Aftermath, we wanted to show kind of a bookend to the series. We wanted to show the very beginning, what happened at E-Day, and a little bit of what happened at the end. So we decided Baird, Cole, and Carmine, when they split off from the main group in Gears 3, actually they went to Halvo Bay. And so this was our chance to show the city both at E-Day, where it's all falling apart, and 2 decades later, when it's been covered with dust and rubble, and the sinking of Jacinto caused a huge tidal wave that washed over the city, and really just to, in the universe and in the story, see both versions of that, to see the characters, how they've lived and evolved after 20 years of fighting the Locust. And honestly, just it's like sort of a gift to the fans of, here's a little bit of that old gameplay style you were familiar with, just so you get the best of both worlds. Aftermath is pure and simple, based on Gears 3 combat that you're used to. It has some familiar enemies, and it has all the familiar sort of like high action, heavily scripted, totally off the wall, awesome gameplay that you're used to. And then it's really a clear difference from the gameplay of the emergent state part of the campaign with the declassified and smart spawn system that we've introduced. Gears of War Judgment is the most intense Gears of War game that we've ever created, but we really liked the horror mood that was in Gears of War 1. So we think we've put together the best of those in Emergence Day, where everything is scary again. It's actually the most sort of rich and vibrant Gears game ever. I don't want to say it's colorful, because that sounds like rainbows and unicorns, but it's not. But we've done a ton of work to upgrade the entire rendering system. So besides having more enemies on screen, we've got more detailed environments, more VFX particles, much richer lighting with brighter brights and darker darks. And we really think it's the most lush Gears of War game we've ever created, but still that feeling that the series has always had. Well, Gamezilla, I hope you guys enjoy the game when it comes out on March 22nd.